welcome to Not Man Enough podcast movie review. We went and saw Superman, and we're going to give our thoughts on it. I think that we probably have some disagreements on this.
Slight disagreements, yeah. Not too much, just a little bit.
Not too much. We went and saw it with also Trent and Sam went and saw it with us. They weren't able to make it for this, but we'll just represent all takes on it. So first off, let's get the stuff out of the way. There's a lot of people trying to make this movie woke and everything else. Matt, is it woke?
No, I didn't think it was woke at all. I could see how people read political things into it, but I feel like you're reaching and stuff, because you could do that with any Superman movie, to be honest. Like, you know, it's like, because there's always that. I mean, you think of like Man of Steel, where it's like same kind of stuff's going on, where the government's like, how do we deal with this guy, you know, and then there's wars. He's you know, kind of controlling the world. Yeah. Well, then people want to read into this one and say, you know, the war going on between the two countries is representative of Israel versus Palestine and stuff. It's a reach, and I feel like you're just not wanting to enjoy movies. You just want to look for political. I feel like you want to make
everything political.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's crazy, because I feel like anymore you can't even have like a war going on in a movie without it being viewed a certain way. And we all kind of do it to a degree. You're trying to, you know, well, what's the point that they're trying to make? And I think that's the question to ask when you go to the movie and you see these two warring countries or whatever, and you think there might be a political statement behind it. You got to ask yourself, what's the point in the movie of it?
Yeah.
And there was no political point to it in the movie. It was actually a reference to, should Superman be doing certain things?
Yeah. And I know people would read into that and say, well, you know, maybe that's referencing America or something like that. But like I said, it's just a reach.
This movie was already filmed before we bombed Iran.
Yeah, it's just a reach. it's a big reach.
Crazy.
And like, if there is political motivations, they're very subtle. They're not in your face.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, you can think of movies where it is just like think of Wonder Woman, the second Wonder Woman. Like, it's very in your face, obvious. Like, it's a mockery of Trump. Like, there's things in it.
I never saw that one.
Yeah, it's really bad because of that reason. Was it
called 1984?
Something like that, yeah. But it's like, this is nothing like that. This is typical, I think, James Gunn, honestly, because
it is.
Like Guardians of the Galaxy movies, they're not overly political out of the Marvel movies. Even the latest one, the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was not political.
I don't think that, I'll be honest with you, if anybody's worried about going and seeing this movie and thinking that you're going to have to put up with woke stuff, you won't. Like, this is the least woke superhero movie I've seen in a long time.
In a while, yeah.
You might have disagreements with it. You might have like and we all, you know, definitely the movie has its flaws. And so so we got that out of the way.
That's kind of the before we move on, I want to say, if you're listening, we are going to
I want to throw out spoiler alerts.
Yeah.
I wanted to just we're not going to stay away from like some of the things in the movie, because I think that's part of the review is talking about those things. And so if you don't want spoiler alerts or anything like that, if that's going to ruin the movie for you, then turn this off. Like, and so I think we just have to talk about it, because it's some of the points made will reference things within the movie. So starting off, the cast. I think we're in agreement completely on this.
I think 10 out of 10 on cast.
10 out of 10 on cast. I think we can all agree on that. I think that if there was a lack of chemistry, then it was not because of the cast. That lack of chemistry would have strictly been due to the writing.
Yeah.
Or the situations they're put in. And I'm not saying that it happened a lot, and I'm not saying that that there was no chemistry there. I'm just saying it wasn't because of the actors.
No, I mean, I think all the actors were really good and looked the part and fit the part, if that makes sense.
Maybe not Green Lantern.
Green Lantern was a little bit about, but Green Lantern's kind of like you know, it's like, you don't really picture someone necessarily unless you're a big comic book fan.
Yeah.
In your head, Superman, you picture a particular looking person, if that makes sense, of like the jawline, everything. It's like you think of someone when you see Superman. They've always done pretty well. I don't think there's any Supermans that's really stood out
as being just terrible.
Yeah, that looked off. It's like they've all been pretty good. This one I think is really good.
Yeah, probably the one that I would say is the worst Superman as far as looks. It's not this movie for sure. Yeah. I think it's probably the Superman of Lois and Clark.
Yeah,
or Clark and Lois, whatever that show is.
Yeah, which that one I understand that one a little bit is like because he's supposed to be old.
And it's fine. And even that's not terrible.
No, it's still kind of that similar look. But that was really good. I liked I thought the guy who played Lex Luthor was really good.
I thought that he was
They always seem to do pretty good with him.
I think that he's a really good actor, and I think that he did well. And any lack in his performance more had to do with the writing than his abilities.
Yeah.
Not saying, like, if you think I'm saying that the movie was terrible as far as that, it wasn't terrible writing.
No.
It just, it did have its flaws, though. So let's get into that. We talked about is it woke? No. Politically, no. It's not a political movie at all. I think Democrats are trying to make it that because they want a good movie that's successful to have something woke in it. And I think don't let them do that, by the way. No. Because this movie, I think, is going to do well. And I think it's going to make a lot of it's going to make a lot of money. And the issue I have is that the Democrats are trying to make it a woke movie so that they can claim a win at the box office when they have had nothing but losses.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to continue to say, no, this is not a political movie, and the actors didn't make it political, and no one made it political.
Yeah. It's like you see stuff right before it came out where people were trying to accuse it of being woke. But yeah, there's nothing really in the movie. Like I said, just a good, typical superhero movie and stuff. And I mean, we could get into some of if you want to go through the cons first and then end on the pros of what
I wanted to talk about the aesthetics.
Okay. Well, that's what I have in pros.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about aesthetics then.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the aesthetics of the movie?
I thought the look of the movie was really good, just because it's bright, it's colorful.
Yeah.
Like it's typical. Like I said, James Gunn, he likes bright colors and stuff. Yeah. But a lot of the DC movies, which Batman should be, if they made a bright, colorful Batman, that would just be off-putting. But like Superman should be kind of bright and colorful.
I think it should be.
That's the one flaw with if you look at like Man of Steel
is too dark.
It's like gray. Everything's kind of gray and dark. And then even like the Justice League, which Justice League, I understand dark. Yeah. It's dark comics. I understand that. But even it is like Superman's more kind of grungy and dark and stuff.
Yeah. It's like the early 2000s never went away. And it's like we couldn't get away from it. And I was really happy to see, as much as people dogged on the outfit and the costume for Superman,
I thought it was good.
I was so happy that they finally went with a bright Superman emblem again, the bright yellow, the bright red, the bright blue.
It looked like the original Superman
It looked more like the original. I understand the baggy, like people would say, the baggy underwear or whatever.
Yeah.
I get it, but at the same time, look, that doesn't ruin the movie. And it's. I know that we've gotten used to really tight outfits where people wear muscle suits under them, and they didn't do that. And so, and you know what? For all those who are all about the Christopher Reeves and they say he's the best Superman, go back and watch him. He did not wear a muscle suit, and it wasn't.
I've actually been watching a lot of clips from the old Supermans.
It's more in line with that than what the other movies were.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's a little bit dishonest as far as that. As far as the aesthetics on my end, I think that it's a mixed bag. I love the Superman emblem. I love the brightness. James Gunn got a little bit too James Gunny in it.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if that's something you can really say, but like it felt like Guardians of the Galaxy was being like this deep sci-fi outer space look was being brought into the movie, maybe a little too much.
It was a little too much. Like there's a scene where they're fighting in the other
some
world
type of river, like Proton River.
Yeah, it's kind of like that kind of stuff is like, and I get it, Superman. I mean, he's Superman. An alien. There's always kind of that kind of stuff going on. but it's like it was a little too that way. That's how I felt. It kind of almost pulled you out of the movie a little bit, if that made sense. Of like when you're watching that, because it seems too artificial. There was another point too. Oh, the one critique I have of the visuals of the movie was the flying scenes. There was a few good ones. Like the first one, I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. Like I like the point of view flying, but then when it kept happening, I was like, okay,
it would have been better as a one shot.
Like if you compare, like I was doing this last night and this morning, watching like scenes from all the Supermans. If you compare, like there's something like really dope about seeing like Superman where it, like he's like breaking the sound barrier and stuff, and there's like the scene of Man of Steel where he comes in, you can hear him coming before he hits Zod, and it's like that's really cool. And then like Superman Returns, there's a really cool one where he like shoots up in the sky and you see the ripples coming off him. Like you didn't get that in this movie, and I felt like that was kind of
I think that, I would agree with that. I wasn't a fan of the flight scenes because it seemed like it was so focused in on his face while he was flying. That it's like you didn't get that impression. As a matter of fact, you couldn't even tell the environment's necessarily going by, except for the fact that like if he was flying over a desert, it would be like sand hitting him in the face.
And then like ice,
and then like ice. And so it was like, okay, like visually, it was just odd.
It kind of like that's one of those things of where I said, it kind of pulls you out of the movie a little bit, if that makes sense. A little bit. It doesn't have that like punchiness that you want it to have, you know.
So. All right, aesthetics, we would agree, for the most part, good. I think that acting was good. We said that. Aesthetics, pretty good. I would say, if I had to rank it, I would say aesthetics would probably somewhere around the 8 out of 10 range.
Yeah, I would say 8.
It's fine.
Just because it was nice to watch a DC movie that wasn't
dark.
That wasn't like gray, like
maybe I'm just jaded.
Even watching like clips from the Man of Steel, because I was trying to like kind of compare if I'm too biased or not. And I did notice like even when they're like in a cornfield in the middle of the day, it's kind of gray looking. You're like,
it always is.
I'm like, it shouldn't like. Which that's Snyder. That's kind of his.
It's the style. I mean, look, if you're gonna go see this movie, expect to see a James Gunn movie. And I think for better or for worse, it's a James Gunn movie. And I think that's so. I guess moving on from there, maybe let's talk about
I do have another pro.
Okay, what's another pro?
Another pro that he did was we kind of talked about the actors and stuff like that, but I think the story did do a good job compared to previous Superman movies of making Superman out to be who he's kind of supposed to be, in the sense of like a good guy. You know, it's like he's supposed to be the symbol of hope and stuff and it's like his whole character in this movie is he almost does it too much where it's like Superman's like not willing to harm anything.
Anything.
Like there's the scene of where he like saves the squirrel or whatever.
Like the squirrel.
But if you go back and watch, like I was watching clips of old Superman,
the old
and
stuff.
There's like all kinds of stuff like that where he's like saving cats from trees,
and dogs,
and like that's just supposed to represent who he is as a character.
It really is a throwback to the oldest, and you can tell it when the movie first starts up and they show emblem of Superman. It's the oldest emblem that you can get essentially of Superman. It's really old school animated, and I think he's going for that, and so you get that kind of goody two shoes. And I'm good with it.
That's how Superman's supposed to be.
I enjoyed that. Did it go overboard? Probably
a little bit.
But let's talk about the story that we were talking about. I do think that the story did a good job of maintaining who Superman is, and I'm good with that. I think that there were some things that are going to make some, and this might be where. I think you have an issue. Is in one of the story departments. So, spoiler alert again, is in the movie they changed the parents as far as we can tell. Now, if there's a sequel, they left an opportunity to be able to work around this.
you could have like they switch it up on you or something.
I honestly thought one of the end credit scenes would be that. Because it was like, so basically there's a corrupted file of his parents, and he only ever had the front part of the message, and it was to basically that he was to serve and be this good man here on Earth that he's been sent to. And, well, they end up hacking Superman's computer, and they end up drawing out the whole message. And the message ends up being, no, you need to dominate this planet. Essentially, at least that's what it sounds like they're saying. Again, and that...
Yeah, repopulate them with your own offspring.
And it's like the context could have... Okay, and a lot of people are going to think I'm ridiculous, but it almost seems like the way that it was jumbled up and it jumped to that subject, it almost seems like it could have been an out-of-context statement by his parents.
Yeah, and maybe maybe James Gunn is thinking that is like...
Yeah.
Because that was... It's so unnecessary. Like, it felt like James Gunn was trying to be different just to be different.
Yeah.
To where I'm like, you're trying to change, like, because all of the Superman movies, there's this idea of, like, his parents are sending him as a symbol of, I mean, the S is literally hope.
Yeah.
Is hope. So it's like, he's a symbol of hope. And there's this, and I was talking to this, I said, what ruined it? It's like Superman, if you go back to the old comics and stuff, and even they really push this in Superman Returns, he's a messianic figure.
Yeah.
And then James Gunn kind of just twists that a little bit to make it kind of like it was just unnecessary, and it kind of bothered me where I was like, okay,
it was a little unnecessary, but I think that what you have to take into consideration is it doesn't bother me that they changed like what the parents said or whatever so much. Was there a great point to it? And I think when you look at the overall theme of the movie, actually, I think James Gunn had a point behind it.
Yeah, I did too.
I think that the reason is the two parents being compared. They sent him to Earth to do certain things, and he gets here, and he essentially is living a life based on a lie, I guess. I heard a noise. I don't know what that was. Anyway, back to it. So basically, the two parents being compared. I did not like Martha and Jonathan Kent in this movie so much.
Yeah.
I thought that they were old and broke down rednecks. It looked like trailer trash people.
He tried to like kind of make that was another problem I had was, and it wasn't like, that one wasn't that bad because he doesn't make them like.
They weren't terrible people.
They were still really good people, but he kind of makes fun of like, it's almost like it's mocking like a farmer.
Almost like they're dumb.
And then like, but if you look through like all the cartoons or movies and stuff like that, they're always, they're farmers, but they're always like really kind and they're not dumb people. He kind of makes them almost kind of like dumb rednecky.
So I think
I think he was just trying to be funny.
So the worst message of the whole movie is to do with his parents, both parents. Yeah. And if I was going to say it's not a political statement, I think it's more of an ethical or moral one. And that is, okay, so it's like everybody's focused on the politics, but actually the message being given by his parents and what was said to him when he goes to his parents on the farm, his Earth parents, and he goes to them. And one of the comments said is that we're not supposed to indoctrinate our kids to believe anything. We're supposed to present them for the tools to make their own mess.
Yeah.
Or something like that, to mess up. And they just figure it out on their own.
Yeah, it's all about, it's like.
And so it was almost a knock against his other parents from Krypton. That, like, hey, I'm just here to supply you with the tools. And you understand what I'm saying? It was like, it was almost like an undoing of like, hey, look, parents shouldn't force their ways on their kids and really shouldn't. And that, if you had to say the most woke thing in the whole movie, that was it.
Yeah.
Is like.
Yeah, and goes still kind of the same idea of like, it's definitely a modern view because it's like, if you look at Superman, you're kind of getting away from, because that's not how, even in like the Man of Steel, you see how his parents raised him, and it's like, there is a form of, we're raising you in this way to be this way.
Yeah. Be a good man.
Be a good man. Yeah.
We didn't
and
just
it's like
provide you with tools.
They expect him. Yeah. It's like we gave you tools, but you do whatever you want. Yeah. It's like, no, there's this idea of like, you need to be good.
Yeah. Honestly, if I had the biggest problem with the movie, for me, as far as changing things, I think that was probably it. And look, it's a Hollywood movie. I'm not expecting it to be Christian and have the best moral ethics and all that. But if I had to make a complaint, I think that story-wise,
that's the biggest.
I think that's the one, and I think that's why he changed the parents' original statement and stuff was to make that point that his parents on Earth actually had it more right. That like, hey, we're just going to present you with the tools and you go off and be your own man. And that, you don't really you don't get that in the originals. And it's not a good message. It just isn't. And so anyway, moving on from that. As far as story-wise, was there plot holes? Were there things that didn't make sense? Yes and no.
Yeah,
I don't know how to.
So some people were pointing out, like we were talking about, like Ben Shapiro's review.
Yeah.
Some of his plot holes didn't really make sense either. Where I was like, you have plot holes in your plot holes, where it's like, which I get, it's like you're just trying to remember the movie,
right?
But the only plot hole, the major plot hole I saw was Lex Luthor captures Superman and takes him to this, other world in between the worlds or whatever, has a guy with kryptonite torturing him pretty much.
Yes.
And then when he gets out, he states that his only goal in all of this was to kill Superman. And I'm like, why didn't you kill Superman?
He actually answers that question in the movie, though.
See, I didn't catch that.
Okay, so that's that. Is it a good plot? No, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's a whole. Lex Luthor said, "I would kill you right now." He says that when Superman's in the cage, he says, "I would kill you right now, except for I have politicians that want to get answers from you."
Okay, so I didn't.
And so he was holding off because the American government essentially had questions.
Yeah.
And so
okay, then that makes a little bit more sense. It was a little confusing to me even in the moment because I didn't catch that, so that would have made a little more sense. Because then it's like as soon as he breaks out, it's like, now kill him, And I'm like, okay, but nothing really changed. But it makes sense with, okay, Lex Luthor is kind of going off the rails.
Yes.
Which isn't, like I said, I never really had a problem with Lex Luthor because it's like his character is always, like that's how he is. He's a super genius that just goes off the rails, constantly trying to kill Superman.
Yeah.
And stuff. It was the only part that I thought was kind of like overdone with him was the part where he's like talking to him through and he's always like, it's about
through
like,
the mic.
Yeah, it's like jealousy. Like, I'm only doing this because I'm jealous of you.
That was extreme.
I was like, that's kind of like cringy a little bit.
Look, there were some hokey parts, like some cringe-worthy parts in this movie.
Which most superhero movies do.
And James Gunn.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. And so I think that there was some cringy moments.
I think it's honestly this idea of like in a lot of modern, this goes back to, I guess you could say, almost like a woke ideology, but it's been going on for 30 years now. But they struggle to make a villain who's just inherently evil, if that makes sense. It's like they have to like twist it a little bit, even like you see with like Thanos and all these people. They can't have someone who's just evil
for evil, like just for the
who
sake
just
of being
represents evil. And it's like, whereas in the old Lex Luthor was that way, like his goal was just money. Kill Superman.
Yeah, it was kind of kill Superman, rule the world.
And it's like, and they kind of do that, and then they kind of walk it back, and they're like, like he's not as bad as we think. It's like he's just, but
so at the
still evil.
So at the beginning of the movie, and I know that you made this statement, is like one of your complaints, and I'm guessing you still hold to it, is that you thought that he just got his butt kicked too much.
Yeah. so what I thought of during the movie was. And I don't mind. Like I don't want to see just an OP like Superman just waxing the floor with everybody. Like you need.
Yeah.
The problem was he didn't stick the landing, if that makes sense. You think of the comparisons I have, and I think this is a good comparison. Is you remember the original Wolverine movies? Like Wolverine Origins, and then there was like The Wolverine. You remember? I think it's The Wolverine. That whole movie, he's just getting his butt kicked. That movie too. Yeah, if you remember, he gets like poisoned or whatever.
Yeah,
he figures
that's
out
because he doesn't have his healing abilities like he did.
Yeah, and so that movie it kind of flopped because of that reason. There's never really like a redeeming moment.
I think there's a lot of reasons that movie flopped, but maybe that's one of them.
But I'm saying, and then you compare that to Logan. Logan, he gets his butt kicked most of the movie, but there's kind of like an emotional build up. Where it's like a breaking point where he's like, there's sacrificial, where he's trying to do his best. And Superman, you kind of miss that, where it's like, he gets his butt kicked, he heals. He gets his butt kicked, he heals. And it's like, there's not really it's bouncing around so much. I didn't have a problem with it until it's like there's nothing emotional about it, if that makes sense.
I think that there was two different things going on. Is he did get his butt kicked like early on, like 2 quick times in a row, essentially. Yeah. Now, you didn't see the first time. It just begins with him.
Which is, I think, also a flaw I think he could have done.
Yeah, I actually thought that the way he began the movie was actually a strength. Because it was, look, you have to go into this movie he assumed that people know Superman.
Which I'm fine with.
I don't need to see his origin story.
I don't need to see origin story.
But he's going to expect that kryptonite hurts him, that he's got this fortress of solitude. You're going to be expected to know all of these things. So that's fine. I think as far as the butt kicking thing goes, like he just was constantly getting his tail handed to him, and this is where, spoiler alert, is I think that it made it better in the end, but it was annoying at the beginning.
Yeah.
So this is what I mean by that. Is at the beginning I was starting to get a little bit frustrated with it. Like, why is he just losing? Like, that's not Superman. He doesn't lose that easily. But then come to find out, at the end, essentially the guy that was getting his butt whipped was a clone of himself.
Yeah.
And he was wearing extra armor, and he was going against, and quote unquote, it's kind of cheesy the way they do this, but he was going against the intelligence of Lex Luthor himself through this clone, essentially.
Yeah.
And you'll see how that works out. I don't want to explain it, but essentially he's fighting at the end of the movie. He was getting his butt kicked earlier on, but once he figured out what was going on, like as far as Lex Luthor being connected to this person, and then also that it's a clone of him, and then he was also taking on another bad guy at the same time that was a villain, super villain. I got to say, it made it all better for me because
it did improve.
Because once he had it figured out, he was taking on not just one, he was taking on 3 supervillains at once, in a sense. He was taking on the intelligence of...
Yeah, and like I said, I don't mind him getting his butt kicked, because it's like there's a lot of good superhero movies where they get there. I mean, you think of like Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame.
Yeah.
Good movies, they're getting their butt kicked constantly by Thanos.
Yeah.
It's constant. But there's I don't know how to put it necessarily. It's hard to get in words. James Gunn kind of fumbled he kind of fumbled it with there's not really ever like a moment where you're like concerned.
Superman didn't seem to care that he got his butt kicked.
Yeah, it's kind of like
I would agree with that.
He kind of dismisses it with jokes and stuff like that, where I'm like, okay, and then it's like the people don't really care about Superman getting his butt kicked, and that was like there's not much concern for it, even though and it's like, okay, Superman's supposed to be the number one, the meta human above all other beings, and then it's like he gets his butt kicked, and they're just like, man, Superman got his butt kicked.
What saved it from being a movie like one of the last Batman movie that was made?
Yeah,
which was terrible. I don't care what anybody says.
It's terrible.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I don't care.
You literally Superman failed at every single level. And you could have taken him out of the movie, and there would have been
Batman.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Batman.
Yeah.
You could have taken him out of the movie, and the same ending would have happened. Nothing changed.
Yeah.
He didn't stop one single thing, and
didn't even solve the crimes.
Didn't even solve the crimes. He was awful. And so the point is that's not this movie.
No,
it would have been if the ending wasn't like it was.
Yeah.
And so it's not that bad. But I will agree with you that I think that it could have been pulled off better, and I think there could have been more emotional weight. Like, the city should have been like all like in tears, almost like concerned watching the TV when Superman goes down.
Yeah.
And there wasn't like that real concern, and Superman didn't have that concern. It's like he just popped back up. I'm good now, and I'm fine. And he's like just kind of, but it's playing into that old school, good old boy like. Yeah, I'm never going to have this bad attitude doing this. You know?
It just treated it so casually. Yeah. Like, even like Lois Lane doesn't seem to care that he's getting his butt kicked. And you're like shouldn't you care that like the guy you love is about to die?
Yeah,
so and it kind of doesn't. And the problem is like I said, the more I thought of it afterwards, I was like, okay. In the moment, I was kind of like, and I did think of it. I think it is just emotion. It was because it was too, like, it was just like boom, 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 happened to go on, that you kind of missed out on a little bit of the, like, emotional draw. Yeah. Like, because he did one scene really well. Like, you think of when him and Lois Lane are arguing.
Yeah.
Like, that scene's
fantastic
great scene. And then with the makeup scene, you kind of have, like, when I was watching it, I was like, this is funny. You know, you have the Green Lantern, them all fighting in the background and stuff like that. And I'm like, this kind of proves the point of, like,
James Gunn just wants to make it funny.
He just wants to make it funny. Where I was like, you could have stuck it with a little bit more seriousness in that aspect of, which I didn't have a problem with that.
I actually didn't have a problem with that.
Yeah,
scene.
But I'm saying that shows, I think,
but it does show his mentality. Yeah.
Why the movie kind of, like, where you're like, well, you kind of just miss that emotional connection to the superhero.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you on that. I think that and that talks about pacing of the movie.
Yeah.
And I think that, okay, so if I had a problem with the message of the movie, it's that one. And it's not because they changed what his original parents said. It's almost the message behind it with his earthly parents.
Yeah.
And it's just, okay, so if I had a complaint about the movie otherwise, as far as it's the pacing.
Yeah.
So every time this movie seems to get intense, it seems to pull back. Yeah. It's like, man, this is getting serious. This is getting really intense. And then it's almost like it just pulls you back out of it a little bit. Like making it lighthearted. And so it makes it just like not as serious. And again, that's this movie. It's a James Gunn movie, but I feel like he, in Guardians of the Galaxy, I feel
doesn't do that. What's funny is, like, almost all the Guardians of the Galaxy, like, kind of
there are some scenes.
There's the build. Yeah. There's like a build, and you think of, like, especially like 2, where he finds out his dad is the evil character, you know, and it's like 3 is even more. 3 is like super. There's all this funny stuff, but then, like, the whole movie's kind of centered around Raccoon, you know, like finding out, like, trying to kill the evil character and stuff. And I feel like that was missing from this movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think that
just like
I would agree.
If he would have just added a few more things, I think it would have bumped this movie up to, like, excellent instead of.
Yeah. So I want to ask 2 different questions, 2 different rankings, because I feel like that's the only way I can be honest with this movie and actually. There's going to be an analytical side that I've kind of been talking through right now, and you might be listening to me and thinking that I didn't like the movie. Like, I'm critiquing a lot, but at the same time, that's all my critiques, and I can critique any movie.
Yeah.
Like,
you can go through and
I think that the pacing had its faults. I think that the writing had its faults. I think that there are a lot of aspects that had its faults. But if you were to ask me to rank the movie and did I have a good time watching it, I say go see the movie, 7 out of 10.
Yeah. I would still say go see the movie just because it's a good.
It's a good movie.
It's still a good movie. Yeah.
I left the movie entertained. It was a solid 7 out of 10 movie for me.
Yeah.
I know all of its flaws. Now, if you're going to ask me on an analytical side of, like, okay, out of great movies, that's a little bit different. I'm going to give you the things that we've been talking about, and it's going to be okay. It's got all these flaws. The ranking's going to look up a little bit different.
Yeah.
It might be more like a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, right? I would probably agree with you. 5 out of 10 out of, like, when you're talking about pacing, writing, things like that. But then I would say, like, enjoyment level. Like, if you're just if you're going in
flick.
and you're just like, I just want to see a good superhero movie, it would be probably in the 7. Like, it would be I think it's better than a lot of what we have gotten lately with superhero movies, just because it's like, look, it's not overly political.
It's not overly political. I feel like it's a family flick for the most part.
Yeah.
There's a couple things. I mean, like the Green Lantern, you know, he's got he makes, you know, things with his ring, and it's like he's like
the
hands are coming out of the ground, flipping birds, you know, knocking over tanks or whatever. And so
that's kind of that. I will say that's pretty,
James Gunn,
but also that was pretty like if you're not really paying attention, you might not even notice it. Yeah.
I took my kids, and my youngest son didn't even notice it.
Yeah.
I don't even know that he knows what that is, quite honestly. So hopefully he doesn't go around doing it.
Yeah. Couple aggressive makeout scenes, but not over the top.
Yeah. That was my son's biggest complaint. He said, "Dad, it looked like they were trying to eat each other's faces off." And I was like, well, it kind of looked that way.
They like each other.
Anyway. So, I would give it, if you're just going to ask me entertainment value, 7 out of 10. Great movie. I liked it. But again, I understand the flaws.
Yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with, I don't think anything of.
Anyway,
stuff.
I would suggest go seeing it. Support it.
Yep. All right.
All right. Oh, you want to say something?
What do you want to say?
So, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Where am I looking? 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10.
Yeah. And get up on the mic if you're going to talk. If you want this to make it in.
Me? Hello. Anyways, I thought it was a 9 out of 10. The only complaint I had was he wasn't as careful with his identity. Like, he just, like, I don't know. Like,
everybody wasn't. It was actually a joke that Green Lantern was throwing it around.
At the end of it, like, and that one guy was like, "Oh, how long have they been hooking up?" I'm like, but that kind of gives away his identity.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does. Or it makes her out that she's cheating. You know what I mean?
Nobody thought that her and Clark were a thing.
I don't know.
So
I think I have a good point.
Yeah.
And then there's these news articles.
This is the difference between a woman and a man's review.
And then there was those news articles as the world was ending.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I guess if we're going to talk about the ending, it was a little cheesy.
Yeah. Anyways, if you made it this far in the video, leave an emoji in the comments and subscribe.
Yeah, there you go. See ya.